Hello, I hope you're doing well. My name is Mustafa, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about how I started my first company last year. So I started my first company last year in November 2020, and to be honest, I probably should have documented the journey along the way, but I completely forgot, and that is my bad on my part.
My bad.
Nonetheless, here we are today, and I'm going to kind of catch you guys up on what I've been working on and kind of give you guys a bit of context and some backstory about how this all began. So first, you're probably wondering, what is the company name? What is the company about? So basically, it is a clothing brand that I've started, and right now it is primarily situated online, meaning it is a commerce store, so there are no physical stores available. I've been working to not just start a clothing store, but rather a brand with a specific brand identity and all that good stuff. And I've decided to call it Swang. I won't get into the story behind the name in this video, but hopefully that's a video for the future. But for now, yes, that's what I've decided to call it, Swang. A little backstory. So I actually wanted to start a clothing brand way back, like right out of high school. After graduating high school, I went on to do my degree at university, and at the same time I was working at a warehouse with a few friends. And it was there that one of my mates and I started talking about starting a clothing brand. Shout out Adrian. We were both fresh out of high school with very little money and little to no experience about starting an online shop, let alone a whole brand. Although what we did have was a strong driving force and a love for fashion. But as you can guess, things started off well, but soon after we drifted away from the idea as we came across different barriers. And as our lives got more busy, we called it in and just forgot about the whole idea.
Man!
And this was all the way back in 2015. And since then, I have continually had the idea brewing in my head continuously over the course of all these years. One of the biggest challenges that my friend and I found at the time was that we couldn't come up with a name. And the reason being was that the names that we would come up with would either end up being taken, trademarked, or just straight up not sound right for what we were trying to use it for. And for that reason, we never got the idea off the ground. And it wasn't until November 2020 last year that I finally pulled the trigger and I did something to lock myself into it so that I wouldn't change my mind or find an excuse to prolong it any further. So what I did was I bought a domain under the URL swang.com.au, and by doing this, I left myself no other option but to get started, because I'd be paying for the domain regardless of whether I use it or not, so I might as well put it to good use. Soon after, I went for a Christmas holiday, and when I got back, I really sat down and focused 100% on this. I worked with a very talented graphic designer from Sydney, shout out Jack. I'll leave his details in the description below. At the same time, I also taught myself some Photoshop using tutorials on YouTube, and I set my online website or shop through Shopify. Again, using nothing but Google and YouTube, I built my entire website over the course of the next few months. Whilst in the meantime, I was designing my apparel using the Photoshop skills that I had just learned. As I mentioned at the beginning...
What?
In the beginning.
Yeah. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a brand and not just a clothing store, so some of the things that I implement and the choices that I make have to align with the brand identity. These being that my brand represents sustainability, ethicalness, and quality. Therefore, the shirts that I pick from the catalog of the shirts available from the supplier have to align with these things that my brand stands for. So currently all my shirts are sustainable and eco-conscious and are either 100% cotton or partly recycled material. And best of all, the quality of the shirts are second to none. They're honestly super high quality, thick, and heavy material. Anyways, that's kind of what I've been working on for the past year or so. Although most of the work was completed a few months back, I couldn't yet launch the website as I really wanted to introduce the brand to the world through a professionally shot advert. So I got into contact with a very talented group of video production team here in Melbourne. And after many months of waiting, as we've been here in Melbourne in a lockdown for well over 8 months, I want to say. So yeah, the video production team and I have been waiting a while now before we were actually allowed to go out and shoot the video, which we actually just shot last Tuesday. And yeah, hopefully I'll be launching the site very soon. And you know what? Since you've stuck around this far into the video, I will give you a sneak peek of the website and kind of how I've got it set up right now. So let's check that out. Forgot to mention, like and subscribe to stay updated. More videos coming soon. Bye!